We then have the dynamic of Snape bullying a bunch of white kids, which could make him seem racist.
Yeah,
Especially when you throw in the fact that he called another white woman the worst, I
mud
guess you could say,
blood.
racial slur you can call somebody in the Wizarding world.
Alan Rickman did such an incredible job as Snape that I don't think he's ever going to be replaced. I don't think anybody is going to live up to him. He, I think, would be good for Kingsley Shacklebolt because he would still be young enough to be him.
Papa Essiadu has been cast as Severus Snape in the HBO Harry Potter TV series.
Yes,
This
he
is obviously
has.
shocking to a lot of fans because HBO and Warner Brothers said that their goal was to make the most book-accurate TV series that they
Yeah,
could, even
and they already started not doing that because in the books, Snape is obviously a white man with long, shoulder length, greasy black hair
more
and
than the
pale
movies.
skin.
I'll start off by saying that I have full faith in this series overall and am so excited
I
for it.
don't.
Whatever
I don't. I was really excited for it um, when they first announced that they were making it. I was really excited. I was like, yay, it's going to be book accurate because there are a lot of things in the movies that I didn't like that they did differently. So I was really excited when they first announced that they were doing this. But now I have lost my faith.
decision they make for the casting is not going to change that, and whoever they do cast, no matter who they are or what they look like, they have my full support. I will be rooting
Well, the truth is that yes, if the story remains the same, obviously, it's still going to be good. But you're always going to wish that the characters still could have looked the way they were represented in the books.
rooting for all of the actors through and through, and will always be going in with an open mind.
Right.
However, I'm going to share the thoughts I have in the here and now. I feel that as one of the biggest Harry Potter content creators, I shouldn't be hiding
You
my
are,
thoughts and
for sure.
opinions and sort of lying about them just because I worry about how people will react to my thoughts. As a massive Harry Potter fan though, my opinion is my opinion. When this
Hmm.
casting was a rumor, I felt that as a white male, I couldn't say anything bad about the casting.
Okay, I'm sorry, but why do you feel like that? We all have opinions on, because, okay, so like, because you're not black, you can't say anything about Snape being recasted as black. But why is that when you are such a fan of the books? You know what Snape is supposed to look like. Why can't you say anything about it? I feel like that's ridiculous.
Naturally, though, people wanted my thoughts on it given what I do as a career, just talk about Harry Potter. After 3 days of thinking of something to say, I came up with the idea that this casting
I just want to say before he says that Alan Rickman did such an incredible job as Snape that I don't think he's ever going to be replaced. Like, period. I don't think anybody is going to live up to him. I think it's the same way with Heath Ledger and the Joker. Nobody is ever going to get that back. And also, you can argue the same thing with Christian Bale and Batman. These are characters that cannot be replaced by any actor because they perfected it. It's done. It's over with.
would be good because Papa will be so different from Alan Rickman's portrayal that they won't be compared. Because let's be honest, no one's gonna live
Yeah,
up to Alan Rickman. I stand
yep,
by that statement. I
exactly.
think that will be a positive. But honestly, as a Harry Potter fan, I do not like this casting overall. Snape
Nobody
is very
does.
clearly described to be a white man in every single book. It would be
Yeah,
one thing if they race swap someone like Lavender Brown, who has no physical description. But
I agree. I agree. Like, if you want it to be more inclusive and diverse, you could race swap the characters that hold no importance in the books. You know, like Lavender Brown. Who else is there? Um, I don't know. I can't even think of anyone right now. But I think that's a great point that he just made.
Snape has one of the most specific descriptions of any character in the series. He is
Yep.
described to be an ugly man with pale, sallow skin,
And that guy, Papa Isidio, he's not ugly.
long, greasy black hair, crooked yellow teeth, and a large hooked nose. And his appearance isn't just there for the sake of being there. His appearance is a large part of his character,
For
affecting how
sure,
he's
for
treated and
sure.
how others look and perceive him. And
That's
how they
so
look at and
true.
perceive him is not because of the color of his skin. And looking at the series as a
Yeah,
whole, I would be just as upset, if not more upset, if they made Kingsley Shacklebolt, Dean Thomas, Lee Jordan, or Angelina Johnson white. That would
yeah,
probably break my heart
for
more than them
sure,
making
for
Snape
sure.
black.
Because they are black characters in the books. And if you were to replace them, race swap them, you would get mad at that. Okay? And he made a really good point about Snape's, like, ugliness being a real problem for the way he's treated. Because people make fun of him in the books because he's poor, because he's ugly, because he doesn't take showers, he doesn't wash his clothes. Maybe he doesn't know how to because he grew up so poor that his parents were always fighting, that maybe they weren't able to take care of him when he was growing up. Anyway, that is a really, really good point.
Because I know those
That's why
characters
he was
resonated
bullied.
so much with black fans and made them feel welcome to this amazing series.
Yeah.
And plain and simple, we don't need to be doing this. We
No,
don't
we
need to be
don't.
changing the race of characters. Harry
Mm-mm.
Potter is already incredibly diverse.
It
In the
is. It
world of Harry
is.
Potter, there are characters that are black, Asian,
Yep.
Indian, gay, trans, and so on. People
And for those three first characters, it was written like that by J.K. Rowling in the books. And she wrote these books in the 90s. So she was already thinking of all of this stuff way before it became trendy and popular like it is now.
say it's just a fictional character. Why does it matter? But Harry Potter is a huge part of my life and has been since I was a child reading these books with my late grandmother. So
Mm-hmm.
naturally, Snape and all of the other characters mean so much to me. And I
And
know
to a
that
lot
thousands
of
out there have the
people.
same opinion. I see a lot of people saying that Snape being black doesn't matter because it doesn't affect his character or the story. The thing is though, it really
It
does.
does.
Making Snape black raises several issues. If we look at his character, you're making a black man now come from a very poor area that is less privileged. You're making
Yes, that is so, so true. They're trying to recast Snape as black so that they could be more inclusive and diverse, but they're actually just kind of casting him into a stereotypical role. That is so
a
true.
black man be talked down to by white people because of where he comes from. And
Yep.
most of all, you're making a black man join a gang of criminals. A black man coming from
Yes.
poverty, being a
Mm-hmm.
criminal, and joining a gang. When you break it down, it's clear that there's a problem with this casting.
No
You're only
kidding. It's very clear. Why couldn't he be cast as Kingsley Shacklebolt? Because this series is supposed to be run for 10 years. They're really gonna milk this one. It's gonna be 10 years long. So you need actors who are preferably middle-aged so that by the time in 10 years they can still look like the role they're playing. And he, I think, would be good for Kingsley Shacklebolt because he would still be young enough to be him.
almost rebranding Snape into something that he's not. Clearly, Snape is the last person in the series to race swap because it translates horribly. This is the type of
Yes.
stereotype that companies and executives try very hard to steer clear of these days.
Exactly.
But by
So what are
casting
they doing?
Papa,
It's
they
because th're not thinking about the story. They said that they were going to be true to the story. They're not being true to it right from the jump. They're not even thinking about, okay, what does this mean if we race swap this character? Oh, it's actually going to look way worse.
actually add a stereotype that didn't need to be there. When Snape
Mm-hmm.
was white, these things don't have the same effect they do for a black kid. We then have the dynamic of Snape bullying a bunch of white kids, which could make him seem racist.
Yeah,
Especially when you throw in the fact that he called another white woman the worst, I
mud
guess you could say,
blood.
racial slur you can call somebody in the Wizarding world. Having a black man call a muggle-born a mudblood right to their face sort of negates the actual meaning of the word in the series, which was
That's
meant to shine a
true.
light on racism against black people in the real world. And
That's
making
so
Snape black
crazy
also
that the producers of this aren't thinking and they just I now it gets me wondering if they're going to change the story so that they can work around the stereotype that they
affects the
created for
dynamics of
themselves.
other characters as well. The Marauders are now a group of white kids that
4
torment and
white
bully a
kids
black kid.
who
This
bully a
dangles
black
the
kid,
idea that
exactly.
Harry's father is racist, which is not something that should be thrown into the mix of his already very complicated
Very
character.
complicated because Harry Potter's dad bullied Snape because he thought Snape was a loser and he was poor and, like he didn't wash, he was ugly, he was weird. That's why he bullied him. He didn't like him. And he also didn't like him because he was a Slytherin right from the jump, so he didn't like him. But now to throw in that he's incessantly bullying Snape because he's also black? No.
And it could also add the idea that Lily chose a white man over a black man. This
Yep.
casting is also just not smart from a business point of view, because many people are already skeptical of this show. As I've gone over, this casting has upset me solely from the point of view of a die-hard Harry Potter fan. But while I view it from a fan's point of view, there are many out there that will dislike this casting for other reasons, which honestly
Right.
is a real shame.
The real racist. Right.
Either way, though, this casting is going to make a lot of people say, screw this show, before it even starts.
Like like I am already doubting how true to the novels the series is going to be.
And one of the saddest parts about this is that no matter how well Papa Essiadu plays Snape, he's now subjected to 10 years of scrutiny simply because Warner Brothers made the decision to change a character's race. It's
Yeah.
honestly kind of unfair to Essiadu. Again, after making this video, I will not speak on this casting again, because as I said, I'm supporting every actor they cast for this show, no matter who they are or what they look like.
I mean, look at the way Alan Rickman is posing for this. He was Snape through and through. Look at the way he's posing.
Very excited to see what Essiadu does with this very complicated character, and I'm eager to see this version of Snape, even
if we have to see his version of Snape, then we will, and we'll give our opinion when that happens. But as of right now, I'm upset by this casting decision. I think he could have been perfect as
it
Kingsley
isn't what I had initially
Shacklebolt.
hoped for. I feel like a lot of people might get mad at me for making this video, but I think I've made it clear why I dislike this casting. And it's not because I'm racist or not inclusive. I think I've made that clear over the years simply by the way I carry myself. I'm just a die-hard Harry Potter
I don't think
fan
anybody would
who
accuse you
hoped
of
to
that.
see his favorite book series be depicted on screen accurately. There's not much else to say other than that. Any disappointment I have in this moment, I am putting behind me, and I'm looking forward to this new generation of Harry Potter on screen.
Yeah.
About Harry Potter and their casting of this guy by the name of Papa Essiadu, who's gonna be playing the character of Snape, or Professor Snape, in the Harry Potter new TV show franchise. And to be honest, when I first came across the story last night, I just shoved it off because I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan. Like, yes, I watched, I believe, the trilogy when I was a kid. Long ass movies. I never completed any of them because they're each like 3 hours long, and I always fell asleep.
they're
Like
not.
shit. Respectfully to
They're 2 hours long.
all the Harry Potter fans out there, that shit is boring as hell, bro. I'm just anyway, got me all flustered, man. I'm just sorry. Like, I apologize. Anyway, this guy clearly, though, he doesn't fit the profile of what the character should be. And to be honest, I reiterate that I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but I do realize that certain characters in the J.K. Rowling series of Harry Potter do fit a specific physical profile. And
For sure.
This guy Papa, he just does not fit that. I'm sorry. Like, I even questioned to myself last night, was the interpretation for Professor Snape, his physical profile, was that open to interpretation? You know, was he just a character without a physical form, but people had a general idea?
No, J.K. Rowling was very, very clear on his physical description because he is one of the biggest characters in the entire series.
Of who he was until I saw this image down below, and apparently this is how Professor Snape looks in the books or the novels. Here, as we can see on Reddit from 4 years,
the author's original drawing of Snape, Harry Potter, and Ron in potions class. So this is J.K. Rowling's actual drawing of the character she envisioned.
Ago, they say the author's original drawing of Snape, Harry, and Ron in potions class, and this is Professor Snape, Harry Potter, and Ron Weasley right there. So we have actual source material. It's not even open for interpretation. These characters are drawn and look a specific way. Clearly a pale man with a big ass hooked nose and long black stringy greasy hair, as what it's described to be. We even have this girl, she said Snape is literally described as a pale man with greasy black hair. What what are we
What
doing?
are
Then
we
somebody
doing?
else responded back by saying, casting the best actor for the job. Tell the greasy white boys to step it up. And in
Oh
my
my
humble
God.
opinion, you cannot be the best actor for the job if you literally do not fit the physical profile from the source material. That literally just makes no sense.
Absolutely.
And this is one of the biggest mistakes that adaptations from mangas and anime make when they try to do a live action movie for that source material. Like, imagine them making a Naruto movie and they don't choose a Japanese person with like dyed orange hair. They choose some, like, I don't know, Russian, Ukrainian guy.
Well, technically, I think in the manga series, Naruto was American. Like, he was actually based as an American, just like Sasuke was Japanese and what's her name? Sakura was European. Like she was British or something.
Who
So you could
literally does
argue
not fit the
that.
physical features of Naruto Uzumaki. Here we have some memes like Ryan Gosling, Martin Luther King. That
Oh my God. This is so funny that they're actually doing this to prove the
That's funny.
point.
Here we have Netflix presents polar bears. Yeah, that's
Polar
interesting. Black bears
bears.
here. Here we
Black
have somebody
bears.
saying they had the perfect casting but
They
decided to race
did.
swap. And here we
They
have Adam
did.
Driver. But somebody said Adam Driver is an A-list movie star. He's not signing up to do a decade's worth of TV.
Worth
So
of
apparently
TV.
this is going to be a long-running,
Yeah, it
decades-long.
is. But what I want to say to the Adam Driver thing is I think he would have been a good Snape. I don't know how well he would have been a Snape though, because I saw him in Star Wars as Darth Vader and I thought he was terrible. Okay. However, he hasn't been an A-list actor for a long time. I think he only recently got up there. I really loved him in Marriage Story. If you haven't seen that, you should watch it. That was a good movie. But I think he has the time to make for 10 consecutive years this. However, I don't know if they can cast him because I remember J.K. Rowling had a stipulation when they first made all the movies that they had to hire British actors. So I don't know if that's even a thing. Like, I feel like they have to hire British
Franchise, something that they're
actors.
starting up for the Harry Potter franchise and the fans. And yeah, it's going to be like probably a multi-billion-dollar thing over the course of 10 years. But yeah, based on
Yes.
everything we know about Harry Potter
If
and, you know, the
it's good, if it's gonna be woke and cringy, then it's gonna die faster than Snow White is right
character
now.
itself, a pale guy, hooked nose, long greasy hair, you know, very
Yep.
mysterious looking. If you saw the Harry Potter movies, you understand what I'm talking about. And
Yes.
the original actor fit that profile perfectly.
To the
Like,
T.
even his voice,
He
creepy
was
as hell.
Mere
amazing.
mortals can only dream of possessing. How grand it must be.
And we
His acting was so good. I mean, the way he talked and dragged the syllables, he was just perfect. I loved him
again
in it.
have the source material here, and clearly, respectfully, Papa, you just don't fit that. And I think, let me be
Yeah.
honest here, a lot of people are going to be offended by what I'm going to have to say, but we need to stop casting black characters for already established characters that just don't fit the profile. Stop
Agreed.
recycling, you know, white-based characters with
Okay, but what's Samuel L. Jackson was fine. He was absolutely fine for Fury. And I say the reason is because his race didn't play a huge part in it. But the character dynamics, the storyline, the plot line for Harry Potter is so pointed in a way that it would then become a stereotype if a black person was cast as that role as they are now. Now, like the storyline is being questioned, like, should we actually do this? So
Eurocentric
I think it's alright for people like this, for characters to be cast when it's the race really has no standing.
features and using
You know what I
black
mean?
characters in the modern day to
This one I really didn't like, and simply because I think she would have been really good as Tiana. I mean, why haven't they made The Princess and the Frog? But for this, like, Ariel had long red hair. Well, I mean, that was a huge staple for her.
I guess, play those
When
recycled roles.
when
Not
race
only
actually
do
plays
I
a
find
part.
it embarrassing, disrespectful, but it's just also demeaning. That just needs to stop. Create original characters that either
Yes.
don't have a physical
Yes.
form and that anybody can play, or a character specifically made for the person you want to
Right.
cast. Original
Right.
characters. That would be more appropriate in my opinion. You know,
For
apparently
sure.
based on this post I'm seeing here, the statement from HBO, they said HBO has described it's, and I quote, Harry Potter as a faithful
faithful
adaptation that will, and I quote, will feature a new cast to lead a new generation of fandom full of the fantastic detail and much loved characters Harry Potter fans have loved for over 25 years. And clearly, based on the casting choice that they've chosen,
they're already not doing
to play Professor Snape, who is Papa, I'm sorry, like, that's just, it's all cat. It's all cat. Like, can you imagine one of Marvel's, I believe, first like live action movies, Blade, being remade in the modern era, and instead of giving it to a person who looks like Wesley Snipes, or a person of color, right, or whatever that term is, to describe people of more melanated tones, you gave it to like a white East Eurasian person or a Japanese person from Okinawa. It just literally would make no sense at all. I mean, given the person's.
And this is a great example because Wesley Snipes was Blade, and I loved him in it.
Phenotypes and the physical features of the character that is already established since what, the 90s? See, this is when race swapping gets completely ridiculous, when you already have an established character who looks a particular type of way. You know? But here's what a fellow creator on X, I believe, has to say about the situation.
Well, the dumbasses did it. They actually race swapped Snape to be black. You know, a character that's vividly described in the books as being thin, having sallow skin, a long crooked nose, and greasy hair. When they heard black and greasy, they must have thought, oh, let's cast a nigga in this role.
Nah, that's crazy. That's a crazy ass statement to say, bro. Like, what?
It's so insulting, not only to the character of Snape, but to the actor that's going to be betraying him as well, because he is going to get so much shit thrown his way because y'all gave him a lazy race swap just because he's black.
Facts. He's gonna get a shit ton of hate, and I mean, listen, justifiably so, bro.
That's his Instagram private. He already privated his Instagram.
Bro, you already know you don't even fit the character. He probably took it because he wants to bag the casting director. I don't know if they're, you know, inappropriate relationship.
Well, no, it's because it's gonna make him famous. I mean, I didn't know who he was until now.
This is how he got that. Like, it's pretty blatant. And listen, man, however you feel about those specific types of policies, I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying that in this specific type of situation, it's very clear to me that there's some funny business going on here, and it's going to probably ruin another multi-generational iconic franchise that doesn't have to be ruined.
Man, I loved those three. They were amazing.
I don't even know if they started filming or not. Hopefully they did not. Hopefully they still have time to fix their mistakes. Otherwise, I ain't watching this shit. I'm sorry.
This backhanded way of
I'm gonna watch it just to criticize.
Here you go, little nigga. Here, you could be represented in Harry Potter too. Let's just race swap a character, the laziest form of representation, and give it to you. Here, clap for us.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It is the laziest form of representation, for sure.
You just lost all the goodwill that you had going into the show because you want a fucking virtue signal. I'm out of the show, and you just lost me and a majority of the people who were going to watch it because you want to race swap.
Me?
Facts. Like I said last night when I came across the story, I was like washing dishes or whatever. I just like, I shrugged my shoulders, I rolled my eyes, and just like went back to what I was doing. I already knew in my head I am not paying for HBO Max or whatever the fucking streaming service is called to watch this garbage. I'm just not. You know, he could be the best actor in the world. I'm sorry, but you just don't fit the physical profile of the source material for this character. You just don't. Respectfully.
Try to tell you guys, just because J.K. Rowling might be against the Transformers in the bathrooms doesn't mean that she's not a raging leftist. Prepare for Ron to be turned black because, you know, he's the poorest one in the wizarding community.
Oh my
and he's a ginger. Rearrange the letters and the word ginger, and you'll see why they race swap.
Well, regardless of this man's politics, I do not give a fuck. Like, I don't care. I just care about the faithfulness and the accuracy of media that I grew up with, and this is not that, and it's apparent to me. It's abundantly clear that the modern day politics of the modern world is now affecting the media that we all
listen. For like a decade now, movies have been so bad because of the woke cringe mob.
Love and
okay, they lost the plot. All of the storylines have been blown out the window. And now you just have lazy casting.
And it's just getting sick, annoying. And this is why I don't even have TV anymore, bro. I just watch my selective streaming services, TV shows that I like, rewatching a whole bunch of shit because a lot of the shit that's been released today is complete and utter garbage. I'm not gonna lie. So all in all, for anybody who disagrees with what I had to say, that's okay. I really don't care if people disagree or agree with me. I'm just telling you my opinion in the way I see it. This is a very, 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 very bad casting choice, I'm already flustered. And they're probably gonna lose hundreds of millions of dollars for a decade-long franchise they're trying to reboot if they go through with this. It's not going to work, and he's gonna get a shit ton of hate. A shit ton. We already saw
I
how
already feel bad.
HBO had the poor
Oh,
casting choice
yeah.
for the season 1 show of Ellie, the character. The person they chose for Ellie to play as the sidekick for Joel, and Joel eventually dies, sorry, spoiler, was horrible in my opinion, and HBO still went ahead and admitted it. Like, they could have chose so many other actresses, female actors, to play Ellie, and now in season 2, it doesn't work. It's not gonna work because
I thought she was okay for Ellie. I thought she was okay because my brother told me about it, and he said that she was ugly in the video game, and so I thought it
now Ellie's
worked.
supposed to be older, and the character who's playing her,
Is too
Ashley
young.
Johnson, just doesn't fit the profile. She does
Yeah,
not fit
she's
the
too
profile
young.
of an older Ellie. But then again, these are all just my opinions. You're free to believe what you will,
Right.
Again, you don't have to believe
Everybody
in what
has their
I
own
believe in.
opinion.
These are all just my opinions, and everybody will
Yeah.
have different perspectives. And some people will genuinely believe that this guy, Papa, is perfect for the role.
Yeah.
Or they just don't see a problem with it, and that's fine. But do let me know your
Listen,
thoughts on it.
we'll find out after the first few episodes come out. We'll know exactly if it was a good call or
Opinions down below.
not.
What do you think?
And
This
we
is
could all
just
eat our words or not. So that'll be all for this one. Subscribe and like, and I'll see you on the next one.